Kia ora, welcome into the form. What a big weekend of racing we've got in front of us, and the preview of that here. We've got Group 1 racing, both sides of the Tasman. The first Group 1 of the New Zealand season, the Tarzino Trophy out of Hastings. We've got all the fundraising action around it with Daffodil Day as well, and we'll describe a little bit more of that very shortly. But here's what's coming up on your preview show. First up, we'll join Bevan Sweeney and Bruce Sherwin to go through the form at Hastings. Matt Cross joins us to take us through some of the card at Riccarton. We'll join Go Racing's Albert Bosma, obviously with a really good team, including Arthur Trion in the listed New Zealand Bloodstock Canterbury Bell Stakes out of Riccarton. Victorian jockey Craig Williams joins us. What a card he's got. He's got Behemoth and company at Caulfield. We've got Jason Collett coming in, find out how fatherhood's going with him, and also his key rides at Randwick. We'll look through the Randwick features with Brad Gray. We'll have our Sir Rupert Clarke preview, stakes preview as well, and then we'll lock in with the boys and get their best spots. Big meeting this weekend is at Hastings, and it does feature the Group 1 Tarzino Trophy at Group 1 level. Bevan Sweeney will be on track for us there. Sweens, obviously you get there today, have a look at conditions, but just tell us what the anticipation is like with this meeting.
Pretty excited, A-Rod. Of course, this day works in conjunction with Daffodil Day as well. So it has that very special tinge to it, alongside it being the first Group 1 of the season. They will have horses in specific colours throughout the program. The TAB's donating $2,000 if they were to win throughout the day. So in support of cancer research, and it's a wonderful cause and a great way to kick off the season. We try and take the variables out of form selection. A-Rod, unfortunately, with this weather, it's made it that little bit more difficult, but I think across the program there are some very good bets throughout the day.
Yep, we'll touch on those very shortly, but we've grabbed Bruce Sherwin to talk through this meeting as well. And Bruce should be part of the Punters Club that's run through the TAB. Of course, they turned over huge amounts last time, but this time it's also special because any of the money goes through the club, and by all accounts, 9% of that turnover will go to Daffodil Day fundraising for the Cancer Society as well. So a bit of an onus on you as well.
Yeah, hi to you, Aidan, and to Bevan. Yeah, lovely to be a part of it. Darren Balcombe, the CEO of Hawke's Bay Racing, they've pulled together a great initiative, really, with the Boys Get Paid team, Luke Keameys and Andrew Lacey, Ted McLaughlin, myself and Butch Castles. And it really is a great innovation, isn't it? Any money invested by that Punters Club, the club's giving their 9% commission to the Cancer Society. So pairing up with the Cancer Society for a really good initiative and trying to make a dollar as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's hope we really do get a decent number going through. Bevan Sweeney, we come back to you. Just on that Tarzino Trophy, obviously we lost Catalyst earlier in the week, but it's come up a decent quality field. How are you assessing it?
Keep on getting my eyes dragged back to one in the race, Aidan, at pretty good value. At Dragon Leap, I think we forget how brilliant this horse was through his last preparation. It's the O'Sullivan Scott way of doing things to bring a horse like Dragon Leap into a race like this fresh up. So he will be ready to go. The map favours him as well. I think he can find a really nice position with a little bit of big cover. Whether the track conditions suit him, I'll have a good look at the track and maybe walk it tonight when I get there just to see how wet that track is. It might just take a little bit of brilliance off him, but look, at $6.50, I think his price is presently. My eyes just kept on getting dragged back to Dragon Leap to be a very big player in the race. I think it's an awkward one for Coolside Mav, and I'll be interested in Bruce's thoughts about what they do with him from that gate. He has a chance to have to work really hard to get a full position. If not, he's possibly caught 3 wide, but he did look to be very good at the Taupo trials.
What about you, Bruce? What are you making of the Tarzino?
For me, the genuine Group 1 performers on figures are pretty obvious. A consideration for betting through the day, just watching how this track plays with the rail going back to the innermost. It was a decided advantage, horses on the fence. Coolside Mav then falls into a tricky position. I think, though, there's enough speed. Supreme Heights and Deerfield, I think they'll run it at reasonable work. So I think if Coolside Mav's positive, it should find a spot. I think the race will open up, be genuinely run, but he will need a bit of luck early. But he really went to another level last year as a 4-year-old Coolside Mav, genuine Group 1 horse. And then it gets really open for what else can play. Harlech was terrific in the Foxbridge Plate, draws gate 1. A horse More Wonder was even quite good. Prix de Fur probably needs a bit of luck from his gate and his mat, but yeah, I'm sticking with the proven Group 1 pair.
Okay, good year. Ben, we'll come back to you and have a look at the filly speed to the Hawke's Bay Breeders Gold Trail Stakes at Group 3 level. Imperatriz unbeaten in 3. She's got wet track form. Bonnie Lass was a Group 1 performer last prep. What are you making of the fillies?
I think she's the best bet on the program, Aiden Imperatriz. Just from the map, I see her trailing in behind Funny Girl, and unless a horse like Danger Strikes, Tui Rocks want to push forward and really put some speed into the race, I think she gets the trail. That was 3 back the fence. Bonnie Lass, I think, is probably the biggest danger. Probably is going to be standing here a couple of lengths at the top of the straight. So unless that inside is off by race number 7, I think she's in the perfect position to just pop off and do her business. But she's been very good. As you know, she's a winner on a heavy track condition, so I don't think the track should be against her unless the inside is off. And they opened her up at 220. They've taken that price. I think she's got a fair bit of X factor around her. One horse that I did have a little bit of interest around is Mustang Valley, who I think will get a perfect run in the race and might be a big improver fresh up into this particular race for the Baker and Forsman team. But yeah, I see her very difficult to roll in the 3-year-old filly feature.
Swings, what about the Wanganui form? If it's going to be wet, could that Wanganui form come to play with Bella Conte and Omaroka Beat, perhaps?
Bella Conte, she improved massively to me at Wanganui, found a couple of lengths. In fact, the whole Chrissy Banbury team did. We've seen Spring Tide go forward into the Group 1, and his time on the day was absolutely amazing. If it got to a heavy 11 around Spring Tide, I don't really like him. I think he needs that slow ground to show his turn of foot. He's got a good turn of foot. But yeah, Bella Conte, I think, is on the improve. She managed to get a lovely run for mine and my particular map, 3 back, 1 out. So from there, she should be in a striking position. But I just consider that Imperatriz has a little bit of a class factor edge off Bella Conte.
Okay, Bruce, how about for you? Can you give us a little bit of hope that Bonnie Lass can topple Imperatriz here?
No. Imperatriz, she was awesome as a 2-year-old. That Eclipse Stakes win at Ellerslie was the best 2-year-old figure of the season. Sort of State was amongst the beaten brigade that date, and he'll be our champion 2-year-old. If we can trust those Foxbridge plate figures, just the way the track played on that day, these 3-year-olds, they ran a Group 1 figure in that Northern Breeders' Stakes. So Imperatriz and Ferenc are miles ahead of the rest of the field on what I saw that day if they can reproduce those figures at Hastings. Imperatriz maps well in the box seat, and Ferenc probably follows it from gate 2.
And talking about Group 1 figures, well, Imperatriz big home, both Stormy and Sort of Stakes in that Eclipse Stakes at Ellerslie. That's really good form, isn't it?
Yeah, that was for me the best 2-year-old race of the season on figures.
Okay, and we'll come back to you, Ben, because we want to talk about the other listed race on the card. That's the Old Rocker to Colin Meads Trophy. It's been a pretty good race over the years. I thought a fairly even field for this year's running. What did you make of it?
Well, I Wish I Win has promised a lot and seems to be progressing nicely through the run behind Imperatriz. I thought it was an outstanding effort. It's an interesting race in the fact that Turn the Ace, I think, clearly will get that forward position and possibly lead, and Dragon Biscuit to the outside. Then there's a lot of horses that'll be back. And you've got horses like Wakari, Hoodlum, Wolfgang. First one to get a forward slot is going to find a perfect position, and the horse that misses out, I think, might be caught 3 wide. So I think they'll be pretty positive with I Wish I Win. And if they are, I think you can get to a one-off position in behind Dragon Biscuit, and from there it's very difficult to beat. I think it handles the ground. Being by Savabeel out of a very good mare and Make-A-Wish, I think he's got a fair bit of X factor about him. So, look, it's very hard to get away from I Wish I Win. But, look, if things went a little bit pear-shaped early in this race, then Turn the Ace is going to have a decent sort of advantage from that forward position and maybe a big danger. But I keep on coming back to say that the market was correct in both of our 3-year-old features.
Okay, and Bruce, it sounds like you've already telegraphed what you're liking here on what you've discussed with the I Wish I Win's run at Te Rapa.
Exactly, yeah. The Imperatriz form has to shine through here with I Wish I Win. He was very good in defeat. There's no spoil at the $1.80 on a wet track, but I can't find an angle for value in the race. Turn the Ace has got a bit to find off his 2-year-old figures, but looking forward to seeing him back. He looked a horse that could really improve physically from 2 to 3. Hoodlum's one I'm interested in. It was only a small field at Hawera, but I think there were 4 decent animals. The figures are are not great, but it was a really slowly run race. It developed into a sprint home, but I've got a bit of respect around that race, in spite of it being a 4-horse race with not a great overall figure. I think there were 4 nice horses that day, Bevan.
No, I absolutely agree about this horse, Bruce. He's got a fair bit of X factor. I've heard Jono say that he's possibly the best horse he's put a saddle on, so that would give you a little bit of recommend about him. I see the boots are going on. Maybe he just got a little bit of a tickler, but that first up performance, albeit the track wasn't overly firm on that day. Look, he's another one that's in that sort of group. If they're positive, there could possibly be a slot one-off for him. And look, they do expect big things from this horse going forward. Whether he can be I Wish I Win, I'm not 100% sure, but I do agree around that race that he comes out of. I think the 4 horses in that race are all winners going forward. And he picked them up quite easily late in that particular race. So he's very talented, and he may just prove himself tomorrow at the Bay.
Obviously, it's not a positive gear change, the boots going on. Bruce, just want to go back to I Wish I Win. What about the prospect of a wet track? Could that be his undoing, or is he good enough?
Well, he showed at Te Rapa he could handle the slow track, and even the Awapuni race behind on the bubbles in the Group 1 perhaps wasn't 100% effective on it, but yeah, he's clear for me in this race. It's just whether I can bring myself to take the $1.80 on a wet track.
Okay, Bevan, let's come back to you. What have you found for the day? What's your bet of the day?
Oh, I think Iberitra's clearly is the best bet on the program at $1.90 now. I think Aidan, the prices come into just with the map and what she's shown. I think she is the one that will be winning for sure tomorrow. I've got a couple of horses that I thought were coming out quite nicely. Gee, Bruce will know because he's at the trials calling 4 Queens. I thought the 4 Queens trialled up like a winner, and behind Brando, it was just absolutely trotting to the line on that occasion. Has good ability, and I think it maps really, really nicely in that particular race. Track conditions, I'm not 100% sure, but it has placed on the slow ground. And the other one at value for me on the program is Communique. I've got a lot of respect around the training partnership here. Had a really nice prep effort at Wanganui and a very strong open handicap taken out by Spring Tide. Second up with a little bit more ground. I think Communique at $9 is a really good value bet for mine.
Okay, and Bruce, can you give us a line first of all on 4 Queens and give us your bet of the day as well?
Yeah, her trial was terrific at Cambridge. She did take a little while to win her maiden. She promised a lot. They expected her to be breaking out of the maiden grades a bit quicker than she did. But maybe she has come back a better horse as a 4-year-old. She's out of a terrific race mare, Diamond Deck, and by Tavistock. So the breeding's there for improvement with age. That's a really good race to look at. Ridgewood Chief, I think, if it deteriorates any further from the slow 8, he was terrific on that wet track at Matamata. And Superiority is one that I really want to be watching closely in the birdcage, just how he is physically. We haven't seen him for something like 18 months, but he looked a group horse in the makings the way he won his debut. So a big watch on him. In terms of plays, just the way the prices are at the moment, I think Ferenc's a terrific bet at $9. She might not be good enough to beat Imperatriz, but you're getting nearly 3s a place as well. So that's probably one of my big angles for the day.
Okay, really appreciate the time, Bruce, and best of luck with your Partners Club tomorrow. And Bevan, we're looking forward to your coverage on Trackside tomorrow. Thanks for your time. Earlier this week, I popped out to Tui Karamira in the base of Graham and Debbie Rogerson and caught up with Debbie around the chances of Tarzino Trophy runner No. 1.
Wouldn't it be nice to live inside a world that isn't black and white? I wonder what it's like.
Debbie, we just watched More Wonder. What did you ask of him today?
Yeah, I just said just go nice, easy 1,000 on the grass because he doesn't take a lot of fast work, this horse. I was very happy with the way he hit out, and he seemed to handle the little bit of wet track conditions here at home this morning.
What did you make of his first up effort?
His first up effort was very good. Drew wide, got knocked down at the start, raced 3 deep with no cover. He only got beaten 3 lengths, so it was a good hit out for him going into a 1,400 metre race.
Yeah. How much improvement has he taken out of that?
Oh, a lot. His coat's really turned around. Couldn't be more than happy with his fitness and just the way he looks in himself. He's a very happy, healthy horse at the moment.
Can you compare him now to how he was last preparation?
I think he's going a lot better now. He had a good break after his last prep, and he's just going in the right direction.
Yeah, well, from what we've seen today, like a wettish track, because we had a bit of overnight rain, shouldn't really affect him too much on Saturday.
I don't think it will. He can handle a slow track. If it was a heavy 10 or heavy 11, question mark. But on the slow, I'm quietly confident.
He's been a horse who's been really knocking around the top level for quite some time, hasn't he?
Yeah, he always seems to run into that little bit of bad luck, whether it's a barrier draw or getting held up or just things just don't go right. So I really hope it's his turn this preparation, and hope he gives us a big one on Saturday.
I guess a lot of it is around just that sort of luck in running, isn't it, with him?
Totally is, and barrier draws are a big thing for this horse. The softer run he gets, the more he puts in the finish.
Yep, going into this weekend though, could you have him in any better condition?
No, I think I've got him right where I want him at the moment for 1400 metres. Looks tremendous, so I'm very happy with the horse.
And safely through this one, do you go to the middle league?
I couldn't see why not, because he is a 1400 metre to a mile horse. So if he comes through Saturday fine and puts in a good run, I can't see why I wouldn't press on to the mile.
What are you expecting out of him this weekend?
Oh, I hope he can run in the first 4. If he wins, it'd be tremendous, you know. It's a good field, be a good even field. Depends on the track conditions. I think it's going to play a lot in barrier draws, but I couldn't be more than happy with the horse.
Longer term, what's the plan for him this season?
We did nominate him for the mile at Christchurch over the carnival. The mile is his pet distance, and that's as far as he can get. So he'll just potter around in those sort of races, and if he can pull off a big one on the way through, I could, be more than happy.
What do you think his ideal track conditions are?
Dead to probably slow. He's not probably quite the same on a very fast track, but he's pretty adaptable, and he's got older, so he can adapt to pretty much most track conditions except for, I'd say, a real heavy 10 or 11.
Yeah, and just looking at him, he looks really bright too.
He's in a good space, he's bright and happy and eating, so I just hope he can show us what he really has got this preparation.
Absolutely. Just what's he like around the stable? What's he like to deal with?
Oh, he's a lovely horse, he goes under the lights every morning after he cools off on the walker, and he eats his grass and hay there, loves getting stropped up, and he's just a lovely natured horse.
We've grabbed Matt Cross, who's going to be calling the action for us. I reckon a really good day, Matt. What have you found for us there?
I've got a couple for you, Aidan. This is a really exciting meeting. We've got a lot of the North Island horses coming down into the south. It's a congregation of the form. So for you and I don't know what it was like for you, but looking at the fields, a few of them were quite head-scratching, trying to weigh up the depth of the South Island form versus the North Island. Often the horses in the south, particularly those that have performed recently at Riccarton Park, can stack up. The trial form from the north is excellent, particularly for the Canterbury Belle. The best on the program for mine, Aidan, is a horse who's heading for the 2,000 guineas. You'll see him in race number 3, number 10, Fire Glow. He's a really exciting horse, this, and I've always been looking forward to seeing him come back as an early 3-year-old. First up, 1,200 metres. He'll be primed to run. Kavish Chowdhury does the riding. No trials, but he's a Pitman horse. Don't let that worry you. He's full of class. And I think that the $3.50 might get a little bit shorter come start time, particularly if we do get some sort of word from Michael Pittman on trackside, because I know that he's got a really high opinion of this horse, and this is his 2,000 guineas chance this year. So I've gone with him as the best in race number 3, Aidan.
Well, the feature of the day is the listed New Zealand Bloodstock Canterbury Belle Stakes. The favourite there is Art the Triumph. Fire Glow beat Art the Triumph twice last preparation. It's really good form. Talking Canterbury Belle Stakes, what do you like in the feature?
Well, Art de Triomphe was excellent at Ashburton. She was first up, no trials. 1,200 metres, I think, is the perfect trip for her, particularly at this point of her preparation. And she just jogged it the other day around Ashburton. You think that she'd be an improver fitness-wise. She's got the class. Widest barrier draw, I don't think will worry her. She'll settle wide with a little bit of cover, and she'll unleash in the final furlong. Got a lot of time for Synchronised, this horse from the Jamie Richards base. I thought its most recent trial was very good. I love the way that Jamie's just let her build into her work. Her first trial on the synthetic was a nice quiet run, and then they unleashed her and she showed a good turn of foot and was ridden to the line over 9.50. That was only on the 3rd of September, so her fitness should be somewhere where they need it to be, and she's a class act synchronised. And the other horse that I liked was Mokatini. This horse brings some of the best 2-year-old form. You look at the horses that it's placed in behind Aiden, was second in its debut to Imperatrice, so then went on to win the Eclipse and the Cambridge Breeders, and then ran into Hallaby, who went on to win again, and most recently behind I Wish I Win, who ran second and behind Imperatrice. So Mokatini, I know that it hasn't won a race, but it's some of the most in-depth form that you can bring into a race like this, and of the others, Fermanagar has trialled up okay, but I don't think it's as simple as Art de Triomphe rolling around and winning. I think there's some real dangers in the form of Synchronise and Mokatini. Was there anything else you saw?
No, especially the top three, they're the clear go-getters in the race for sure. What about something at a bit of a juicier price? Can you hand us out something like that, Matt?
Yeah, we'll go to race number 2, Aiden, and a horse that caught my eye at Ashburton last time over 1,400 metres on debut. A really special horse, this. He wears the Neil Ridley colours. I speak of Enough Said. Now, Meg Kineen trains this horse, and Meg had a long association with Neil. They were very close. She worked alongside Neil for a long time. Actually, a horse that Neil purchased at the sales for $31,000. So it'd be a really special horse to see win, and his run was very eye-catching, first up over 1,400. And would you believe bookmakers have put up $18 for him in race number 2? Horse to beat there's probably Burnview, but I think that this horse should be a lot shorter than what it is, Aiden. Race 2, number 8, Enough Said.
Okay, Matt, you and I might go to our TAB accounts and we'll leave it at that, but I look forward to catching up through the Riccarton card on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely, Aiden. It's an exciting time of year, as we know, and looking forward to tomorrow.
And joining us at this point, we head to Albert Bosma of Go Racing. And Albert, obviously locked down in Auckland. We're feeling for you guys for sure, but there's a bit of racing to keep you amused for the weekend.
Yeah, the racing is keeping us going. It's I think everyone in Auckland is doing the right thing and they're behaving, but there's certainly a little bit more tension around this time than last time. People are just sort of over it, and we're looking forward to hopefully getting down to level 3 next week.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that. Let's talk the racing though, and you've got a team of some pretty handy gallopers in action over the next couple of days. Let's talk Riccarton. And the first of the 3-year-old filly stakes races down there is the New Zealand Bloodstock Canterbury Bell Stakes at listed level. And you've got Art de Triomphe in there, who resumed with a pretty dominant win, you'd have to say, at Ashburton last time out. How did you assess it and how she come through?
Yeah, it was a really good win. Andrew only sort of had it 70-80% right, and he was going to be happy if she ran into sort of 3rd or 4th. We rode her cold on purpose from the wide draw, and she ran past them. So it was a very impressive win, and she's come through it really well. She's ticked every box since.
Okay, there's a few Northerners and a few newcomers into this race. How are you assessing her form?
Look, I think she's on exposed form. I think she's got most of the field covered. She's pretty progressive. The one horse that we have a question mark about is Synchronise. Obviously, she's a 1-star winner, and she's won a trial, and she's coming down. So she looks like the threat. Our barrier draw is pretty good. She was 11, but she'll come in with the emergencies coming out. We'll come in about 6 or 7. So that'll give us options as to where we want to sit in the race. And as a 2-year-old, she was able to sit up in the speed, and last start we went back. She's very tractable, so we'll be able to put her where we want. So we're going into the race, I think, with a bit of confidence. She's probably 85% tomorrow, and she'll be 100% come Cup week.
Okay, how do you get her to 1,000 guineas from here?
So we'll go to the Barneswood Farm at the Ashburton on the 16th of October. She'll run there, and then post that we'll just make a decision about what we do. She's in the 2,000 guineas, and we'll make an assessment whether we run there or wait for the 1,000 guineas, and we'll also make an assessment whether she needs another run or a trial going in. It may be if she runs well on the Barneswood Farm and we want to go for the 1,000 guineas, we just give her a trial between times. But we'll work that out after the 16th of October.
You're pretty confident she's up to that level?
No question. Yeah, she's very smart. She does what good horses do. She works, she eats, she sleeps. In her work, she doesn't do much in her work unless she's asked to. She's a complete professional, and from having good horses, that's what the good ones do. The good ones know when it's game time, and they know when to switch off. So we haven't got to the bottom of her yet, and that we don't know. We know she's good, so we're only going to find out how good by testing her as we go up to the grades. But she's pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's go back one race at Ashburton, at Rickett, and you've got the Pride's Easy Feed Open, where you've got a couple of runners here, Hasbro and also Severine. Let's talk Hasbro for starters. Comes in fresh. Stephen McKee trains off the back of a last out win before going to the break, and had performed in Group 2 company prior. What about him fresh?
Yeah, he's come up better than he ever has. He's his last preparation was excellent, as you said. He was second in the Easter. He then won very impressively before going out. He trialled at Cambridge before this, and the trial was very good. He's gone down to Riccarton early because the Copeland's Mile is the aim for him, so we want to give him plenty of experience. We think a hard run at Riccarton, a hard run mile will suit him. 1,200 metres is certainly short of his best, and he's got a wide draw. He's got Jacob Lowry on, great to have Jacob on, but he's got a wide draw. So it's not an ideal race for him punting-wise, but he can go well fresh, and he would not surprise me at all if he win a boomer. I'm not saying he's going to win because I think it would be very tough to win because the field's got a lot of depth, but I think he'll run very well.
We know Stephen McKee's ending training at the end of the month. What happens with Hasbro?
Yeah, good question. So Stephen's prepared him and sent him down on Monday. So he's in Stephen's name now. He'll transfer to Andrew Carston after this, and Andrew will train him at Riccarton through to the Copeland's Mile. You know, Andrew and Stephen have got a great relationship, and they've been talking a lot about the program for him.
Okay, and of course Andrew trains your other runner, Severine, who's another fresh up, and another one who's really on a kick-off point towards a Cup Week feature as well.
Yeah, she's a tough mare. This she's won 6 races, and you know, not many horses actually win 6 or more. And she's got better as she's aged. But on Saturday, we were umming and ahhing whether to run her on Saturday or whether to wait and trial her on Tuesday and then go 1,400 fresh up in 2 weeks' time. We decided to run her because we think she'll get more out of it. But she's not as forward as Hasbro. She's a step behind him in terms of fitness and preparation. She's got a good draw, not much weight, and she can go well fresh, but she needs this one, and I'll be surprised if she can run the first 3 or 4. If she's hitting the line well and she's running sort of midfield or just in front of there, we'll be really happy because, as I say, she's a step behind Hasbro in terms of where her fitness levels. We're really targeting Cup Week for her.
Okay, so both of those to watch out for later on in the preparation. But one who's really capturing her imagination at the moment is the Tissue. She goes around the Group 3 Bill Ritchie Stakes at Randwick. It's a race that probably won last year. So it'd be nice to see another Kiwi win it this year too, Albert. What are her chances?
Yeah, so we nominated her for a couple of races. She ran 2 weeks ago, and we ended up getting back last, and she had 20 lengths to make up at the 600. She got beaten a length, and it was a superb performance, but just had too much work to do. She's ticked every box since then. She's got a good barrier draw of 3. She's only got 53.5 kilos. The question mark is certainly going back to 1,400. You know, ideally it'd be another 1,500 or even a mile race, but we're going back to 1,400, and the sharpness of that distance is the question. However, Chris spoke to Chris on Wednesday. He's very happy with her. He said, I haven't screwed her down yet. And he said that's to come if we make the Epsom field. But he said she's doing everything I'm asking of her. So we're really happy with her going in, and she's a live chance. It's a step up in grade, but she's a very much a live chance.
When we spoke last time, it was a question of whether you win Epsom or you win sort of Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup path, but you really are showing your hand by dropping back to the 14, aren't you? It is an Epsom target.
Yeah, it is, and that's a conversation Chris and I had. We had the conversation. It's D-Day. We've got to make a decision, and so that's why we decided. Look, we'll go to Bill Ritchie because if she wins, she's in Epsom, and she gets him with 50 kilos. And if she gets on Epsom with 50 kilos on the back of a Bill Ritchie win, she's a live chance. She's a real chance of winning the Epsom. So we've gone that route. the 1400 ends up being too sharp and she gets beaten, well, there's plenty of other options. The Golden Eagle's coming up at the end of next month. So there's lots of other options for her, but we've committed to trying to get it to the Epsom. So that is the path we're taking here.
Okay, really good. It'll give you something to occupy your time watching some pretty good horses go around through your lockdown weekend. Best of luck with them all too, Albert.
Thanks, Aidan. Really looking forward to it.
We'll get you off to Sydney at this point, and a big day of racing out of Randwick. We'll grab Jason Collin, who's a familiar face to our Kiwi audience as well. But Jason, there's someone new in the household. Do tell.
Yeah, g'day, Aidan. We've got a little daughter now. She arrived sort of 2.5 weeks ago. Scarlett is her name. So, yeah, it's been a big change, but a very good change, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Congratulations from all of us here. You better tell us for the mums who are watching, how big did she weigh in it?
She come in a week and a half over, so she was in no rush. She was 3.45, and I think she was just under 50 centimetres. So, yeah, and look, she come out healthy, and look, everything's going well at the moment. So, yeah, it's been an interesting time with COVID and that, but everything's working good. So, yeah, very good.
Okay, she's got the genes to be a jockey. Is that in her future?
Look, we'll wait and see. If she wants to do it, like my parents said to me, if she wants to do it, she can. But I won't be pushing her. But her path she'll find her own path.
Exactly. Let's move on to the racing side of it. And obviously, great form, a treble in Sydney on Wednesday. We're just going to kick off halfway through the card because race 5 in the Bill Ritchie handicap at Group 3 level. You team up here with Aaron Mayo, who was really good in running second last time out, and behind a pretty smart one too, Jason.
He was, yeah. His figures were really good out of that race. He was obviously taking, albeit Zaki was probably easing late. He was taking ground off him. So if you can back that performance up, he's going to be a chance. Look, the gate's a bit tricky, but again, it's same as last start. So if he gets a bit of pressure up front, that'll make the race for him and give him a chance to finish it off like last start. So yeah, look, he should be in the finish, you'd imagine.
How are you finding it, especially Randwick, and how it's coping, especially with a little bit more traffic with no Rosehill and the West Sydney track?
Surprisingly, it's doing well. We haven't had too much rain, and when we have had the rain, it's been sort of at the start of the week. So by the time it's got to race day on the Saturday, it's sort of dried out enough where you're not hammering the track, obviously because it's still not warm enough where they're getting a hell of a lot of growth on the grass. So it's a different story in, let's say, a month or two's time. It'll repair quicker, but obviously the rail placement's sort of shifting out each meeting, which saving the ground on the inside there for Doncaster Day coming up and Everest Day. Yeah.
Okay, let's move you on to race 6 in the T Row Stakes for the fillies, and you team up with Mallory, who's run for third in the Fury Stakes last time out, was pretty encouraging. What are you sort of making of her chances?
Yeah, she was. She's going really good, this filly. She's got a gate too on Saturday, which is going to make the job a lot easier. She was a bit fresh and tardy to begin. First start back was prep, and obviously didn't get a lot of room. Last start was better. Speed was on, and just probably did a wee bit of work on the circle before straightening, and it just took away from the finish late, whereas the winner sort of had the drop on us. So look, she's going to get a similar run to when she won back in the autumn or late summer. That is, yeah. So she'll get a soft run from the one gate, and I think she's one of my better rides. Yeah.
Okay. Does she sort of loom as maybe a flight stakes prospect?
She does, yeah. She does. It's not overly strong. Sort of crop of 3-year-old fillies in Sydney at the moment. So of what's going around, yeah, there's nothing really stands out. So, and obviously the 1400's the new variable. So if she relishes that, then the mile, you couldn't see it being an issue.
Okay, yeah, moving on to the 8th here and the shorts here, and you're on G-Tra, who's been a big shortener by all accounts, in a pretty hot sprint field. How are you rating your chances?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, that's for sure. It's the one gate helps me. Like he comes in as he usually sort of probably does, a bit of an underdog. He does. He's very consistent. The horse he performs, and again tomorrow is going to be the same. His work into it's been good. He had a trial and had a bit of a good hit out there at that last trial. But I guess we're just going to have to see how we match up again against a couple of fit horses. Obviously, Nature Strip. But yeah, it's going to be exciting anyway.
Yeah, and how highly do you rate him?
Oh, look, on his day, like last prep, he was obviously third in the Everest, won the SSS. So like he's definitely up there, and Class Seeker Nature, like on their day, are very good. And as we've seen, Nature Strips seems to have come back in that manner again, as he did in the autumn. So look, a bit of pressure in the race tomorrow is going to help. It could unsettle Nature Strip. You've got Eduardo lost and running, so there's going to be good pressure on. So it's going to suit him anyway to get the drop on them. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, just to tell us about their try. How did you rate it?
Oh, look, he doesn't trial any good usually. I wouldn't read too much into that. He's cunning. I remember last year he come up before the Concord and he beat Nature Strip. It was like $1.40, and on the Tuesday we galloped him with a Class 1 stayer of Claire's, and I thought I'll give it three or four lengths in the gallop, because I'm a top class sprinter here, and he couldn't even catch it. And I went, geez, you're coming into an Everest here campaign, and he's performing like that. And then so obviously got to Saturday, and he came out and won. I think he just about broke track record, and ratings were really good. So that's and then after that he had another trial, and he did similar. He had a trial in between before the Everest, and it was a similar sort of scenario where he just sort of applies himself to the competition, which, as you imagine, wasn't very high in the trial. So again, that happened first trial this prep. So yeah, like I say, I wouldn't read too much into that.
Okay, good. Moving on to the Kingston Town Stakes, and you're on She's Ideal, who looks to be tracking really nicely. How are you rating her in this one?
Yeah, look, she was huge first up, 1400 weight for age. Look, we were expecting a good run, but yeah, not to be, a few strides out from beating Very Elegant and that in Mo'unga. So she was a bit plain, I suppose you'd say. Second up syndrome. We try to hold a bit closer spot. Had her probably a touch out of her comfort zone. The track by that stage got a bit average down there on the inside, and when we got flat-footed and we just couldn't get out of there, it made for just a mediocre run. But look, she's, as far as Bjorn said, she's coming on good, and she's weighted well in the race on Saturday, which is the main thing. Get a good surface, and just need a wee bit of luck from the gate, really, believe it or not.
Okay, and we're moving on to the last. I reckon this is just updated on me in the last 30 seconds. You're off east on to Gravino. Did you know that was happening?
Yeah, Geist. We were booked for Gravino, and then obviously I think she was like 3 on the ballot. So yeah, it put me on Geist, who was Drew 19 and is going down to Melbourne. So yeah, Gravino looks she's good, nice ride too. Put a couple together there through the winter, and looked quite handy too. So yeah. Looks a nice chance off a decent gate. Has had a trial leading into it. Again, a good field. No Equation, Annabelle's horse. He showed there through the autumn. He's quite classy. But yeah, I think we'll be expecting a good run there.
Okay, yeah, we've just touched on races 5 through 10, but what about the early part of the card? Is there anything among those horses that you're liking, Jason?
Battleground in race 1, he's 3 on the ballot, so I think he needs another 1 or 2 scratchings possibly. But look, he's probably a class runner in the field, a class above what he's up against. But his racing manners, I should say, since starting at the new stable, probably haven't been up to scratch, and it's cost him. So look, Matty's a good trainer, and I'm hoping he just sort of ironed out them sort of flaws that the horse sort of has. Because if he does that, he should be winning that race in the first. Obviously, he needs to get in the field, but there's a few there that look like they could scratch from bad gates. So we'll wait and see.
Okay, couple of last questions. Give us the best of your day for Saturday.
I like Mallory. Yeah.
Okay. Good as gold. And who's the horse that you're most looking forward to for the spring?
Obviously Guitry going towards the Everest. He's good. I picked up Autorius in the Golden Rose next week, so he's a good ride. It's going to be hard to topple the favourite, but this is a classy runner. He was a Blue Diamond winner last prep, so. And look, he's had a couple of runs, so fitness is going to be on his side. And if he gets a race run to suit, yeah, he's quite exciting, yeah. Okay,
good. Yeah, really appreciate you giving us your time, Jason. Best of luck for your rides tomorrow, and best of luck with the nappy changing coming up too.
Yeah, getting good at it, Hayden. It's a bit like Red Bull Formula 1, just quick, very good.
Grabbed Craig Williams. He's on the way to races today, but we want to talk about races tomorrow at Caulfield. And Craig, a really good book of rides. Let's first of all talk about the feature. Behemoth, who was great in the Menzies last time out. What are your expectations in this era at Clark Stakes?
Well, he's won now 4 Group 1 races, so it's quite unusual to see us line up in Group 1 handicap and also see the likes of Probabile, but they actually look like the 2 main horses in the race, and I guess the other horse in the market comes over, Bo Rossa, who meets us better at the weights. I meet Probabile weight for age conditions. She's a mare, 2 kilos less than me, same rating, and I guess Bo Rossa gets a 1.5 kilo benefit from the other day. But if he didn't get penalised or run second the other day in that weight for age, we would have been giving him about 6 kilos. So he's probably he needs to win to justify them running him in the Group 1 Menzies Stakes Pride. But I love Behemoth. He's won he's won his 4 Group 1s here at Course and Distance at Caulfield, and he's trained on really well according to his trainer David Jolly.
Yeah, how confident do you go into the race?
Really confident. He's a really good horse. He did win the race last year. Last year he carried a kilo more, but in actual fact we actually carry a kilo more than what he did last year because of the weight scale last year. Due to the COVID, the minimum was 54 in the race, not 52. So there is a bit more of a different. Usually the top rated horses, when they've done what Behemoth and Probabile have done, usually don't win Group 1 weight for age races, but they are very good race horses, and I can't see why. I don't believe they're handicapped out of the race, no. So I'm really confident going into the race that he's going to be a great chance if he brings his normal form at this course and distance, then and shows his performance from a good low barriage. Or the other thing to keep in mind for your viewers is that there is a lot of wind forecast, and something about the Caulfield racetrack is it can be affected by the wind really badly. So it does affect the way races are ran and then subsequently won. So there's one thing to keep an eye on. So that we do look at today, a day before, and say, oh, fantastic barrier, low barrier draw. We get a very economical run. But that mightn't be the case turn up tomorrow due to Melbourne weather and being the circumference of Caulfield racetrack.
Okay, interesting. We'll take you through your remainder of your rides, Craig. You kick off with Ferretti, who was the last up winner at Geelong. Just got a tricky barrier draw, don't you?
Yeah, he does. And he's also staying at the same distance. We're able to dominate that race the other day. There was a good discussion between myself and Gay about whether he steps up in distance where he probably can control races like he did the other day better. This doesn't look like one of those races because there is there is a couple of speed horses, and of course they're drawn lower than I have. So we will need some luck, but the horse is in great form. He was first up the other day. His second up form is really strong. He's got the confidence from the win. I worked him on Tuesday, and he's only, you could feel the confidence, and he hasn't taken a backward step from his first up win at Geelong.
Okay, on to the second. You've got the aptly named Pandemic, who comes in fresh. Group 3 performer last preparation. What's the word about just how forward this runner is?
Well, there's a lot of word about Pandemic at the moment, not just here on the racetrack, but globally. So he's the Omen horse. He's got fantastic first up form. He's got great statistics at the distance. He's had 2 jump outs, so he's obviously ready. They were up in New South Wales. This is the first time I'm going to be on his back. And but looking at the race, for a sprint race, there's actually a void of speed in the race. There's probably only one leader, probably Annabelle Neesham's horse. Wisdom of Water probably leads from barrier 8. But my horse is a get back and run on horse, so we will need the race ran to suit him. But he is a really good horse, and he is a great fresh horse.
On to the third, you've got Marioka, who's a filly who's yet to miss a placing in 5 starts. Obviously, that consistency sort of gives you confidence. What can we expect tomorrow?
Yeah, she's still maiden, but this is not a deep 1,000 guineas prelude, and she's drawn really well to have her first run going left-handed. She finished off her last preparation up in Brisbane. She's had a jump out in Brisbane, which she led all the way, which was a bit different to her normal run style. And then she went to the races in Sydney, and I thought she was really gallant.
And another one, talking about Brisbane form, as you mountain race forward, that's Alpine Edge, who's a winner of 3 of 6 up in Queensland. What are you expecting here?
Yeah, he's got a great record, this horse, and I kept a close eye on him. I competed against him in the Magic Millions earlier on when he finished second. And we could have seen how that form got franked, but that horse that beat him, Shakira, he was scratched from Flemington last Saturday. But he's had 2 jump outs, and he's trialled both times nicely up in Brisbane. Kieran McAvoy actually, he must have stopped in Sydney on the way down and worked him and sent me a message and said that he worked really well, really sharp. He's drawn again favourably on face value, and it should give him every opportunity to get around Caulfield for the first time and have a very economical barrier from draw 1.
Okay, race 6, Aidensfield. You ride this one for the Hayes team. What can you tell us?
Yeah, she's a lovely filly. She won her first 2 race starts when she started career off as a 2-year-old. She's been very consistent without winning since, and I've ridden her the last 2 times. 2 starts ago, ran behind Tarath, who's only gone and franked the form-winning group races since, a handicap and then a group race. And then I rode her the other day, just trying to get her confidence and a win going back in grade. Unfortunately, we drew barrier 18 and we didn't have any favours. We were 4 wide, no cover the entire, and she looked like she wasn't going to fight the race out at the top of the straight. And to her gameness that she fought on and was only beaten half a head or a neck away from running in finishing second. And now they've found this benchmark 90 race. It is a competitive race, but she's drawn really favourable to get every chance. She has a nice weight. She's well weighted in this race, and it'll be a great race to give her a well-deserved confidence boost. And the way she is going, then she'll take a lot of beating in this benchmark 90.
Okay, on to the 7th, and that's the Foundation Cup. You mount here is the Kiwi breed Trilly Rose. You rode into a really nice placing in the Italy last time out. How did you assess that performance, Gary?
Yeah, that was great product placement by you, eh? Well done. She was purchased with the thought of being a lovely. She looked quite. I actually spoke to Cameron Cook, who purchased her, and he gave me a rundown, and she was quite backward. But we go to New Zealand to buy great bred and future staying types, and she clearly fits the bill. She's really furnished and filled out. She puts a lot of energy in before the race as well as the race, but I was so pleased with her first up performance. I worked her at Geelong in preparation for her resumption. My only race ride before that was winning the Bagot by I think 6 or 7 lengths, and I just felt that she had come on physically coming into this spring, but she's still got a lot to improve with her mannerisms. But I'll be really looking forward to seeing how she comes on from her first up run. I think we just got hit by a stone. And can't you dodge them? Anyway, can't dodge stones in the car. And she drew wide, offset that barrier draw, didn't get full clear running where I couldn't ride her out towards the line, and I think it really cost us a chance of fighting out the win. and the stable report that she's really come on, and now she's come up with a really good economical draw, having a low barrier draw, stepping up to the 2,000 metres. She's right on target, and they're really aiming for her to be in the Cups this year, and she needs to win this race to get her into the Caulfield Cup.
What are your thoughts? Can she measure up into the the bigger cups or not?
Absolutely. The way it's shaping this year, the way she's profiling, she's just got to. And if she gains the right, then she'll be definitely she'll be representing New Zealand. And now that she's here, we call her an Aussie when they're good. You know how it works. We did the same at Farlet. We'll do the same for all the good horses. Jimmy Shue, we're trying to make him an Australian if he had more starts over here as well. So be careful when you start them off. Probabeel is probably a Victorian now that she started this preparation off here again. She can definitely measure up if she makes her into the field.
Okay, I like that. Bella Nipotelli, you're riding the last stakes placed last preparation. How do you round out your day?
Yeah, she was really unlucky last time. I've ridden her on 2 occasions. First time was up in Brisbane in a stakes race, got beaten behind away game. I only just beat last week with Splintex in a Group 2 sprint race. Then she came back. I love the way that Kieran spaced her runs. Then he found a really good winnable race in a rating race. He led and was dominant that day, gave us some winning confidence. I rode her in an open listed race, and we just didn't have clear galloping room. If we did, we fight the race out. And we come into this race and looking for some black type for her. I still think in the back of my mind, speaking to Kieran and having 2 rides on that, I still love her to have a sit. But it mightn't be the race that we have to sit and wait for a bit of luck. But we'll wait and see what Kieran decides, how the track's playing. By the end of the day, we'll have a really idea about the pattern. And all I've got to do is find a little bit of good luck for her, because I think we had plenty of bad luck last time. And if we can, she'll definitely take a lot of beating in this listed race to round out a great Group 1 Sir Rupert Clarke Stakes Day.
Okay, plenty of Kiwi punters will be following your rides through the day. What's the horse that we can look to win?
I love how you do that at the end, and I don't have all the numbers in front of me. I think all the ones that we highlighted will be I think they're on my ride. So my manager's done a really good job. But if I don't get a winner, I'm going to have to blame him rather than him blaming me. So we're going to use the golfer's analogy that if I shoot a great round of 68, I shot 68, and if I shoot 74, the caddy says he shot 74. So. I think we'll have to hopefully have a bit of success, so then I can pat myself on the back. But my manager's done a great job, and I'm really looking forward to the card where on paper, I do have a really strong book of rides all through the day.
Brilliant. Really appreciate your time, Craig. Best of luck tomorrow.
My pleasure, guys. Stay healthy and well.
Another Group 1 weekend of racing out of Sydney, and we've grabbed Brad Gray to take us through some of the form. Boy, it's an exciting weekend. First of all, let's have a look at the George Main Stakes, and obviously we've got Very Elegant there headlining what's a pretty good field, Brad.
Yeah, we do. She's hard to beat, isn't she? The market suggests as much. Just all eyes on this track at the moment. So we're in the soft range as we speak, and we know that she's a horse that likes a bit of a sting out of the deck. So hopefully she does get that for her sake. But as I look out the window, the sun's blazing down. So fingers crossed we do get an upgrade for every other horse's sake. But Very Elegant in the connections, I think we'll be hoping that there is a bit of sting out of the ground. But her record speaks for itself, doesn't it? She was very brave there, first up in the Winx Stakes, out to the mile, second up Suits. I was looking back at her record recently in terms of Group 1s, and it's phenomenal. I think it's the last 10 or so. She's only missed a top 2 in 2 of those. And interesting enough, one of those was in this race 12 months ago, where she was a little bit flat as the favourite. So that is in the back of your mind. I think she's very skinny, but she is the horse to beat. If there's one that might just topple her, I think it might be Riodini. He bounced back to form there last start, nearly pinched it from the front. Can't see a lot of speed here, and if he gets a similar run, there's every chance that he runs a bit of a race at each way odds.
Okay, going for a couple of former Kiwis, you like that. Let's move you on to what you Aussies love best, the sprinters. And boy, the shorts has come up a super field, hasn't it?
Hasn't it what? There'll be fireworks here. Holy moly. Just the speed in the race. You've got Eduardo drawn the outside. He's got no other choice but to come across. We know Nature Strip burns the turf. We've got Rothfire in there. I know he's first up for a long time, but he's a naturally quick horse. You've got Lost and Running as I look at these horses here, and it's going to be on. It's going to be on. Adelong's into the mix as well. She probably lacks the class of them, but she'll inject some more speed in the race. The horse I've settled on with all of that in mind, if there is fireworks up front, it's going to leave it for something late, and I think it might be Masked Crusader. Nobody missed his run there first up. He had a big class edge on his rivals at Caulfield, but you just don't sit last and then win ease down like he did unless you're a supreme athlete. And we already know that, but we saw him last prep pretty much step up in company and suggest that he's a genuine Group 1 sprinter now. He continued that trend first up. And I think he sets up really nicely here to make a little bit of an Everest statement. Whoever wins this race, you could probably say with a great degree of confidence, they'll be the Everest favourite.
Yep. So are you suggesting we bet him?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I think if you're shopping around that $5 mark, I think he is a good price. I know it's a race where you can make a case for most of these. I don't know what Rothfire is going to do first up. He's a fascinating runner. He's been trialling up really well, but off such a long layoff, there's nowhere to hide in this field, is there? And I think he's well found enough in the market with that little query. There's no query over his talent, but just in terms of his fitness and his soundness, when he's a similar price to Masked Crusader, who we already know where he's at, I think he's probably the betting angle in the race.
Yeah, make a really good point there too. Just it's a decent card outside that. Next race I do want to touch on though is the Kingston Town Stakes, and horses I guess a few of these will be heading towards Metropolitans and things, but not a bad field as well.
Yeah, it's an important lead up for those horses, and a lot of these that are high in the market here are also high up in the Metro. I speak of Montefilia, I speak of She's Ideal, and also Spirit Ridge. I've gone with She's Ideal. She's wearing the punters down. Every time she runs, she's a sectional star, but she hasn't won in 10 starts now. But you look at how well placed she is in this race. Like, she's a 105 benchmark, and she's got 53.5 for Jason Collett. So she's supremely well placed. I think you can be a bit forgiving of what she did there last start. I know it's 7th on paper, but her run was much better than it looks on paper. She was on the inside of the track. It wasn't the place to be, and she probably wants 2,000 metres now. So third up out to this trip. Last preparation, she was really unlucky. So if she shows that same dash, that same turn of foot, she's going to be very hard to beat, but you can have your heart in your mouth because we know she gets back. She's going to be tucked away from that inside draw and just need the seas to part at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Fillies continue their run for the Princess Series with the T Rose Stakes. What were you liking, and what sort of really loses an even race?
Yeah, it certainly does. We saw Jamea make a bit of a statement in the race before this, the Furious, but she's going towards the Golden Rose now. So that's a bit of a step up for her, but you can see what they're thinking. Why not have a throw at the stumps there? But that doesn't make it any easier for us here. We're waiting for one of these fillies to really jump out of the ground and prove themselves the dominant filly, which so often we see season after season. That hasn't happened yet, so it's a bit of a puzzle. I've gone with one at a little bit of left field, Chill. I think you can get about $50 at the moment, which seems a little bit ridiculous to me. She does bring that alternate form line. Anthony Cummings has gone a different route in terms of joining up to the Princess Series, but at the moment she's running the Rosebud. She didn't go too bad there against the boys where Paleli smashed the clock. Then she went back to her maiden company. She won that well enough, and then she went to the Ming Dynasty, the Group 3, and it was a race where the tempo really backed off in the middle stages and made it pretty much impossible for anything from the back to get into the race. And although she ran 6th, she was only beaten tick over 4 lengths. She was okay late. I think she maps well here. Bossy goes on, and she might give us a little bit of a cheeky sight there at monster odds.
Geez, you'd get that one home for us, Brad. You've already got your fans here in New Zealand. That'd be something else. Okay, let's move you to the Bill Ritchie handicap at Group 3, and obviously real New Zealand interest here, not only around Amaralina, but also we have a tissue over there who won first up. How are you rating the form here?
Yeah, it's an aggressive piece of placement from Chris Waller, isn't it? I did note that in the nominations, she was in the Kingston Town, she was in a benchmark race, and she was in the Bill Ritchie. And I thought she'd go straight to the benchmark race, win it even money, and away you go. But Chris Waller, you can see what he's doing here because this race is exempt for ballot in the Epsom, and you don't get a penalty. So she'd slip into the race like an Epsom with 50 kilos, and she'd have to be some kind of sneaky hope, wouldn't she? So the query with her, it's no knock on her talent, it's just coming back in trip. I think she probably wants a mile now. She's back from 1,500 metres to 1,400 metres. To offset that somewhat, she draws well. she's only got 53.5 kilos. So she's in the race, but just in the back of my mind is whether she's going to find one of these a little bit too sharp. I've gone with Private Eye. Nobody missed his first up win. He smashed the clock, running some ridiculous splits to really embrace her in a race that he shouldn't have won because the speed was pretty moderate. Then he went to Kembla Grange, and although the run doesn't look great on paper, similar case to She's Ideal, he ran 7th of 9th, but you look at his splits across the meeting, he's actually run the second quickest last 600 metres across the entire day. So sometimes you've got to have a bit of a dig into these numbers, because sometimes your eye tells you fibs, as you'd know, diving into the form from time to time. So I think this is a really good setup for him. The shades go on. Joe Pride uses the blinkers when he really needs them. So it's a bit of a flag for his stable. 1,400 metres, sting out of the track, Randwick. I think it's a nice setup for him to probably run as well as a lot of people were expecting last start, and then go into the Epsom as a genuine hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we've had a look at the main races. Have you found anything outside those that you're really liking for us?
Yeah, I think it's a day we can go a little bit wide. I've made my best bet, new arrangement. Race 2, number 1. I know this is a horse that's kind of teased punters in the past, but I tell you what, I think he's going particularly well this time back. He won first up, and then he hasn't really had the right setup since then, yet he's defied that to still run really well. So I think the mile, a good draw. This is the race that Atishu was scratched from. It's a pretty open kind of race, and I think it's a perfect scenario for him. Out to the mile, he loves Randwick. And he's certainly going to get his chance to hopefully prove to me that I'm not seeing things, because I think he's flying.
Okay, sounds good to us. We'll go and get on the $50 pop. We'll get on your other tips as well. Thanks for joining us, Brad, and giving us some more insight into the brand.
Pleasure. Go the Kiwis.
Let's get you off to Melbourne. We've grabbed Ben Ascara to get just some insight on the big day of racing. It is Group 1 to Rupert Clarke Stakes Day at Caulfield. And Ben, not a bad field for that feature as well. And we've got New Zealand interest too with Probabeel.
We sure do. She's one of the better mares in Australasia. Don't worry about just New Zealand or Australia. She is a fantastic proposition, especially when she finds dry ground. So that's the little query with Probabeel. I love her because she's such a class horse, and I think she's going to be so much better suited second up at 1,400. And if she finds her best, she probably has to be the starting point in the race. So hopefully there's not too many showers, and I'm not too concerned about the track being too wet for her. I think we're probably going to be at a soft 5 at worst. My little concern would be if we get a few showers, does that inside chop out and those inside draws all of a sudden go from being an advantage to a disadvantage? All said and done, I think Probabeel is the horse to beat. I've got her on top in the race. The little caveat at this stage is we don't know if I'm Thunderstruck's in the field. Now, he was originally sourced from New Zealand. He's a fascinating runner. His recent jump out couldn't have been any more impressive. He's got to go to a new level, but his ratings and work suggest he might be capable of it with the lightweight. So we just got to see if he gets into the field. If he doesn't, then on Probabeel on top, obviously Bo Ross are a huge chance in the race as well.
Yeah, it looks like a really competitive field. Let's go a race before and have a look at that Foundation Cup, and obviously a key lead up into some of those staying features. We've got a former Melbourne Cup winner in there among a pretty good lot. What are you liking?
Yeah, this is a race, of course, offers golden ticket, ballot exemption into the Caulfield Cup in October. And I like non-conformists. It's the first time it could have been 2.5 preparations, this horse has drawn a barrier. He just continues to draw wide gates that forces them to either go back or sit wide without cover working. He's just had no luck. He went back first up in the PB Lawrence, had no luck at all in the concluding stages there. He looked outstanding in the yard. Jane Ivel put him on top in a fee, and based on how well he looked, he's developed this preparation. And he was caught wide without cover at Group 2, weight for age level there. Drops back in class, finally draws a barrier. And I think at better than $4, he's a fair bet. The other horse I'm going to have something on the race is Angel of Truth. I thought was really good through the line in the main lead up in the Heatherly, and we know he ran really well third up 2000 in an Australian Cup last preparation. But I think it's a nice race for non-conformists.
And Ben, just wanting to get your best on the program, what are you liking on the day at Caulfield?
Yeah, race 6, Anavisto. She was scratched from the Let's Elope from a wide draw last week in a stronger race. And I actually don't mind the fact the stable gave her an extra week to get over what was a pretty tough first up run. She was chasing Turath. They ran really fast time. She's probably produced a career peak performance there first up. which if she comes through it okay and she's had the 3 weeks to get over it, I think it bodes well that she might have come back in career best form this preparation. So she goes around benchmark 90 level. She's been well found in the early betting, but I still think around that 250 plus, she represents a good bet. That's Anna Visto in race 6.
Brilliant. Really appreciate your time, Ben, and good luck and enjoy Group 1 day at Caulfield.
Yeah, thanks very much. Hopefully, Probabeel can get it done for the Kiwis.
Now, thanks to all our guests here on Form today. Let's recap the best bets. Good luck to our punters following in any of those best bets from any of today's participants on the form. We've got a massive weekend of racing. Do tune into Trackside and get the live action. But we'll be back with the form next week.